What about now? Can you hear me now?
What about now? Can you hear me now?
That might have given you an echo.
That might have given you an echo.
That's better. Any audio at all now? Yeah, you can hear me, PF. Thank you. And that means I need to change this one little setting here to that. And what about the background music? I'm assuming it's working, maybe? Maybe not. Give it another try. No, we'll worry about that another time. So, welcome. This is my workshop. You probably noticed that my camera's going to wander around and follow me a little bit. It's this new AI stuff that the rep told me about when he offered me a discount on the camera. So I said I'd give it a shot for the first stream and see if it makes you guys seasick. I have to really remember hard to keep looking this way at you guys because I keep having this bad habit of my eyes wandering around and looking at other things on the screen. Bad habit from being a teacher. Anything that moves means I need to look and see what's going on because the kid's probably doing something silly. For those of you who don't know me, I teach science and engineering. I'm currently teaching part-time due to a little bit of a health-related issue, but nothing you guys need to worry about. It just means I can't work full-time. Some of you might have noticed over my shoulders that I have a V2 and a box turtle kit. So yes, we are going to be building the box turtle today, and you've probably already seen half of this stuff before, if not all of it before. If I'm getting something wrong, please let me know so that I can fix it, or if I'm doing something stupid or heading down the wrong track, you guys know this as well as I do. I've been watching the Modbot stream and the Steve stream, and a little bit of the Nero stream, but it was outside of the times I could really stay up for. So let's have a look around and see what's going on. I do have a couple of beagles floating around the house, so if you occasionally hear a woof or an aroo, then that's them just saying they're here and stuff, and trying to trip me over on the odd occasion. So, I'm not the sort of guy who has lots and lots of tools, so I'm not going to be a Steve Builds where I'm constantly telling you to go out and buy this tool, it's awesome, because like you, I can't keep up with Steve, so I'm not going to even try. What I do have is a collection of stuff that I've picked up over time from AliExpress, etc. Because being here in Australia, getting tools and that sort of stuff is hard and it's exceedingly expensive because of travel. But AliExpress is cheap. And as a result, we can get that sort of stuff easily. And it's usually a 6-day turnaround for us here, which is awesome. Now, I'm going to go through a couple of these scenes just to make sure they're all working. So the first thing we're going to do is have a look at my hands plus me. Here's my fingers, there's my watch. Hopefully you can see this. Anybody? No, maybe? Yes, you can see my hands. Then this was what I was trying to do up last week for the original intro because I'm in Australia. I was going to play a gag on being upside down. Might do this once or twice just for giggles, but it makes my hair look weird because it always sticks up here. I'm not vain enough to worry about a hat. Then we've got just my fingers. Probably won't use this a lot, but if there's something big or going on in the corners, it might be easier. And of course, I have the standard link into a browser, which also has me here. Hi. So, is there anything wrong with any of those things that you guys could see? Oh, you don't want to see you. Let's go back to there. I don't yet have a Stream Deck. I just simply couldn't afford to splash out for one. So at this point, I'm just going with what I've got. How's the audio? Is it any good? Is it clear? You're the only one who seems to be replying PF, so I'm relying on you. Speaking of which, I would like to thank you for how generous you are on all the streams with your gifted memberships. Honestly, I couldn't afford to subscribe to most of them at this point. Being a teacher and only being able to work part-time, the cash isn't great, but hopefully things will improve and pick up as my health recovers a little bit. So I think first thing we should do is grab that box turtle. Uh-oh, that wasn't good. So with my setup, my viewing angles aren't the hugest. I probably do need to get a better lens, but this is what I've got, and this is what I'm going to be working with. That way, that way, that way. There we go. You've all seen the box. You guys have all seen the unboxing, I'm really, really sure. So let's open it up and let's have a better look at what's inside. Oh, nearly hit a beagle. Oh, stickers. Standard box turtle sticker. Oh, no, it's a modified box turtle sticker. It's got West 3 on it. West 3D. Put that out of the way before the kids steal it. West 3D sticker, because that's where I got it from. Lee Marie 3D, Jeremy and Keela very nicely hooked me up with a discount code, so I was able to get a little bit off the price of the kit, and it meant that I got it an awful lot cheaper than I could have got it for here, and a lot sooner than I could have got it for here, because most of the retailers here, I'll bring them in by sea for keep the cost down, and with the discount, it actually made it cheaper and faster to get it direct from West 3D. It was arranged about 2 weeks before it arrived, and it just showed up at my door within 5 days of dispatch. And oh, that's the PETG. Has anybody here actually printed with the LDO PETG? I've been having all sorts of trouble with my eSun and the other local PETG, and it's just not coming out very clear. So I might give that a go for another round at it. Hi, Bill. Hi, Bill. I got the green turtle. That's the tires. Now, I do have a batch 2 kit, so this might be a little bit different to the other kits that have been online so far, because hopefully it means that it has all the switches in the right place and all the right kinds of switches. So, turtleneck buffer and hard mounts, Filometrics, which we'll worry about in a few weeks, lots and lots of cables, the big hardware pack, the extrusions, which we'll probably need now. The stepper drivers I'll leave in here, and you guys have seen the AFC light before, so I won't bore you with that bit. And the steppers, make sure they're all here, because I've heard rumors that sometimes they're not. All 4 steppers are in the box. Hi, Shrimp. Oh, that's awesome news, Bill. I will definitely give it another reprint then. Actually, question for you, Bill, if you've had good success with it. Most of my PETG has been coming out really milky. Are you printing yours hot and slow with lots of over extrusion? I have to give that another go then with that other roll. It could just be that the PETG here has been completely destroyed by the weather. Something that most people won't realize is I live sandwiched between a desert and the Indian Ocean, and as a result, the weather here destroys filament fast, and I mean really, really fast. If I was to leave a roll of PLA out, it will be brittle and useless within 48 hours. Like, it'll just become a mess of little snapped pieces, like a couple of centimeters long. Don't need that. I've already printed all that. Extrusions. Put the box away for a minute. Grab my Allen wrenches. Oh, nice, pink. It's a nice touch that they're actually doing a few random colors so that it's not the same for everybody. Do we know if it's done like that way on a per retailer basis or anything? And Jason, no Haribos means we have to buy our own lollies. So I'm working on a pack of Rowntree's Fruit Pastels imported from the UK. Oh, it's just random, is it? Bill got blue. Was that rattling of the wrapper really loud? Sorry. Hopefully nobody's wearing earphones to listen to me. I wouldn't want to do that. I need my knife. One sec. And it looks like my wife has been in my tool chest again because my knife is gone. So the way my house is set up, I'm actually using what would be the formal lounge of the house for a workshop. Originally, I had a giant fish tank, like 8 feet by 3 feet by 2.5 feet tall, but it just became too expensive and too much of a time sink when the kids came along. So I was forced to close it down. So this wall all the way here, this was basically a gaping hole where the fish tank went through. So the fish tank was in this room and in the room behind me, which is the family room where we do all our day-to-day living stuff. I'm going to try not to drop things and deafen you guys, so I apologize for that. I really like this powder coating. You might not pick it up well on the video, and I'm doing this more for other viewers rather than you guys who've seen this all before. But the powder coating is nice and thick, and you can feel a texture to it. So that's a really nice thick coating. It's much better than the anodized coatings we often see on a lot of things. So, Bill, at some stage, if you don't mind, because I know you're already doing it for Steve, I fully appreciate you may not want to do it for everybody. Could I add you as a moderator if it comes to that sort of stuff later on? Yeah, the work to keep it clean was the biggest reason I got rid of my tank. I just couldn't manage to keep it clean. You think freshwater is bad? You should try marine. I was having to maintain the pumps, and every 3 weeks I had to rip the pumps out, and I had to basically dip them in white vinegar just to get rid of all the calcium buildup that gets onto the pump parts. It was just unmanageable because once you drop the flow, then water parameters drop, and yeah, it just got to the point where I couldn't justify the time or the expense of keeping it, and it wasn't fair to the stuff that was in the tank. Cats, ew, PF, I thought better of you. I'm just joking, man, I don't want a cat. Did you guys hear that? The beagles are yelling at somebody going past the house. So, break out my Steve tray in case I need it, and I'm going to need some hardware. Now, let's bring that up. Now, I'm just going to go ahead and build the main frame today, I think. And once we get to the end, if you guys feel like hanging out, we can hang out. If we get further than that, then maybe. But one thing I've always had difficulty with is I put my soldering iron down a lot. And when I put my soldering iron down, I end up burning things. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get myself a little chopping board that I found. And I'm going to VHB that there, I think. But I can always do this and make sure that the soldering iron is always off the benchtop. I just splashed out on a new set of heat insert tips, so hopefully that should make life easy. And where did I put that box of stuff? There. ECAS. Bearings for later. Gears. idler's fan. What did you guys think of the noise off the fan? Every report I've seen say it's noisy and try to avoid using it. Bill, I'm hoping this time slot works for enough people to make it worthwhile doing. Reason being, this is the only day where I'm not on call for work and the kids aren't here. So today my daughter is at pre-kindy. My son is out at my mother-in-law's, thank goodness, because she's, yeah, like most mother-in-laws. And this is the time slot I have where I can guarantee I'm not going to be interrupted by anybody because my wife's also in the office on Thursdays. Now, one of the things I have done to try and address the fan issue is I printed Steve's by doing the mesh rear, I'm hoping that there will be enough airflow that I don't need to use the fan, or if I do need to use the fan, I can chuck a resistor in series with it just to slow it down and tame the noise a little bit. I mean, my printer has CPAP on it, so it's not exactly the quietest thing in the world. But if it's running all night, it's one of those things where I don't want it to keep the kids awake because you can hear the CPAP clear across the house if I don't run it on a tamer setting. So, hi Shadow Queen. Now, Shadow Queen, for those seeing as you've just got here, we've just had a quick chat. We've tested out a few things with my OBS setup, and I'm just starting to break out all of the stuff to start putting heat sets and things into place. If you've got any questions, by all means, put them into chat. This isn't going to be as slick as somebody like a Nero or a Steve or a Modbot. I'm just here to have fun and chat with you guys while I build stuff, basically. Talking there, not there, because that's where chat is and that's where you are. And unlike Nero, I did manage to print all the skirts. So it's an Isun dark gray for the normal hex section, and the green is Sediment, which is a local Australian brand. And on the back is just some blue sediment that I had floating around that I wanted to use up, and because it's on the inside and nobody's going to see it, it was what helped me get across the line because I didn't quite have enough gray to do what I needed to do. Just like I only have one heat set to do for this because of doing the single parts. Did I not turn this on? I didn't turn it on. There's me chatting away trying to fill the time while it heated up and realized I hadn't heated it up. Hardware for the wheels. Let's put that away for a bit so I don't lose it. So, for those of you who don't know very much about Australia, I'm on the west coast, which is basically the only city here is Perth. Perth's got about 1.5, almost 2 million people, and we're spread out in an area about 50% bigger than the San Francisco Bay Area. So you can drive around about 120 miles from north to south and not leave suburbia. Whereas east to west, it's maybe 20 miles wide at the widest points. But we're sandwiched between the Indian Ocean and what we call the Darling Scarp, which is the original pre-Ice Age coastline. And then it rises up to go into the farming belt and then the desert belt behind it. And during the summer, we can get nights of 37 C, so what's that? 100 Fahrenheit, and daytime temperatures can go to well over 115 Fahrenheit. Oh, that is nice. It's the first time I've used this actual tip. The original tip I had was pretty scuffed. I'll get it to show you guys while I'm waiting for that because it's not quite warm enough. You'll see me use a lot of these soldering irons because they're cheap. Down here where it's focusing. There we go. It's a bit bent and scuffed. It got overheated. I took it to school one day and one of the students decided to play with a little temperature dial. And as a result, 450 degrees kind of ruined the brass. Hi, Kegel, how are you? Thanks for dropping in. Everybody loves Martin, it seems. Now, I was originally planning on building the Stealth Changer, but the boards I was going to use for all my tool heads kind of started getting really expensive really fast. I was offered a test of some boards by one of the manufacturers, but it was a very early beta set of boards. They were hand assembled, great for testing with, but they failed in pretty short order because of the hand soldering rather than the pick and place. So the process is currently on hold. As a result, I've got about 7 or 8 different stealth burners floating around. So if you're wondering why, as I walk around my workshop, you see stealth burners everywhere, it's just a case of I haven't been able to find them all and put them all away in one single place at the moment. So, one heat set. No heat sets in there as far as I can tell. Ow. No heat sets in there as far as I can tell. No, none in there because it's the same piece. So I think we're going to need to get the extrusions. And some corners. Now, because we're not on a stream that's sponsored by anybody or anything like that, I can speak my mind a little bit more than some of the other people have been. It really irritates me that the Box Turtle crew seem to think that we can't be trusted to support our own parts. They won't even release parts that have no built-in supports. Their built-in supports didn't work. They didn't work for me, they didn't work for Modbot, and they didn't work for Steve. So, I know that Steve modified the parts and then he also passed those parts along to Modbot, and I got really irritated and I decided to just modify the parts myself. It was as simple as putting a negative space into the spot here and then putting my own supports in, because their supports just wouldn't peel out. But yeah, that's what I did, PF. I put them into Tinkercad, put a negative block into the spot, and then merge the two parts together. So yeah, it's annoying that they don't trust us. Yes, supply your own supported parts, but give us the option. If it's not working for us and it's not working for people like Steve, who they actually said to him, you need to tune your printer better. It's Steve and it was his Prusa. Arrgh. What's up, Shadow Queen? Don't judge you for what? Okay, you guys are obviously having a conversation. Now, I'm going to need some screws by the looks of it. Which screws am I going to need? So let's jump across to the manual. Precursor, yeah, I'll get to those heat sets in a few minutes. I don't mind leaving the heat set iron on. Now, because I've got the 350 2.4, I was able to print all the major parts in one piece, which makes life a lot simpler. And I have already removed the print in place stuff as necessary and either done it with my own supports or some of them did peel out. Yeah, I know about the fan. I'll get there in a minute. Their supports, which aren't the greatest. And we need 2 M5 by 16s. I'm beginning to think that my neighbors all think that I'm a druggie because from time to time the local birds manage to break into the bins, and when they do, they end up pulling out all the little plastic baggies from all of my hardware, and they end up blowing down the laneway behind the house where the bin truck comes to collect things. M5 by 16 and 25 pieces looks like the right amount. Jump back to that one so I can see what's going on a bit better. And that one. Yeah, PF, I always try and make Steve streams, even though it's the middle of the night for me. And when I say the middle of the night, they usually start between 1 and 2 a.m. my time. Modbot stream this morning for me was at 3 a.m. Sorry, I think I'm probably doing this off camera. Let's go back to hands plus me. There we go. That's better. So I put the first screw in and tighten them, backed it off a little bit because I know I need to keep these a little tiny bit loose for fitting in the printed part in a moment. It's been a while since I've had a coffee in the middle of the night, Pierre. It used to be that Bill and I would joke about the coffees when I was actually drinking coffee in the middle of the night. But I'm trying really hard not to, because it means that sometimes I can get some sleep once the madness has gone away in the mornings and the kids have gone to school or whatever. So, first part in place and a little bit wobbly so that I can, I'm assuming, put the printed part in based on everything I've seen. Yep. So I need to go here. And next. Yep, slide the back one in. Now I need to do this the right way up. So the dented bit goes to the top, which means I've actually done this part the wrong way around, but I don't think it really matters for this part of the assembly process. Now, some other people have noticed this as well. The LDO extrusions on this batch 2 seem to be a tad longer, and as a result, the printed parts are ever so slightly short. Now, I'm not going to worry about it because I'm a scuff builder, and it's not something that bothers me so much. Let's go back to hands plus me. So if you have a look, there's a little bit of a gap and a little bit more of a gap. So I am going to try and even it out a little bit. But yeah, that's not quite fitting LDO. And these are Steve's parts, so we know that they're sized right and they fitted for his build. So it looks like they've changed their jigs for the cutting. Maybe people who print the multiple parts have had a little bit of over extrusion, and as a result, they've not been fitting as reliably. That would explain it. Because they fit vertically, it's just the ends where there's a little bit of an air gap. It's nothing that can't be addressed easily enough. Did I put that on the right way? Yes, I did put that on the right way. Oh, hi JPP. Didn't see you come in. There we go. So Yep. Yep. Okay. Oh, it wants me to build the hub, and I haven't built the hub yet. So let's jump to this view so you can see what I'm seeing. So yeah, it wants me to now screw the hub in. That's easy enough to do, but that means I've got to assemble the hub, which I haven't done yet. Let's jump back to the manual and go previous. Oh, it was here. I just missed it. Oh no. Okay, so let's get the hub. I'll put this to one side for a moment. Hands plus me. Get rid of those corners. Push those to the side. I know I printed it. I went through the inventory. Here we go. One hub. You know what? I'm going to turn that off and I'm going to put that to one side for a bit. You guys don't mind me chatting while I put it back together, so that's all good. They're the two parts for pushing them together. Not Knipex. Definitely not Knipex. The advert on AliExpress even said, definitely not Knipex. So, one hub. And a whole lot of ECAS. From memory, we need 5 for this. 2, 3, 4, and number 5. Put them in the tray so we don't lose them, because that's my favorite trick. And put the bag back in the box, Phil. Always put the bag back in the box. So, first things first, I believe we need to check the filament path. Probably helps if I've got a clean end. Yep, that works. That works. Works. And works. So, PF, was it you who did these parts? I remember it being somebody on one of Steve's streams who'd done the parts up. The jigs, I mean. Now, I seem to recall that we need to go here. Yep, and we need to take off all the little black washers. 1, 2, 3, 4, and number 5. And because of the way the jig works, These are quite tight compared to normal ones I deal with, but all the hats come out. No, I'm just going to use the full. Not quite all the way home yet. Was that loud for you guys? I'm sorry. Still not quite all the way home. I do have a little desk vise on the edge of my lip track. There we go. I've got a little bench vise off the, just out of view. I'm going to use to squeeze this in. Bill, I reckon you'd probably be ashamed if you saw my workshop. It's a mess. And what would you know? It's 3 millimeters too long. It doesn't quite fit in the vise. That's all right. Give me one moment, fellas. If in doubt, break out the hammer. But before I do this, I'm going to be nice and I'm going to mute you guys for 1 second so you don't have to hear this. 1 sec. And I'm back, all fixed. So secured all the way home. Oh, it helps if I've got my hands. Secured all the way home with a big hammer. Now I'm going to leave you guys so you can actually see it this time, but I'm going to use a big hammer to. Hello, is that better? Better? Sorry about that, guys. Another trick that they don't tell you about OBS is it seems that when you hit mute, it slides the slider to the bottom, but unmuting it, you have to then drag the slider back yourself. That's weird, but anyway. Now, I seem to recall I'm going to need one of the bearings. So I should probably grab that if I see it. Does anybody know which bag the oh, the switch will be in the electrical bag, won't it? You have no idea how disconcerting this is. As a teacher, normally I get some sort of feedback from the kids in my classroom, even if it is just a but I'm basically just talking into the ether to you guys at this point, and yeah. That is hub. There we go. I mentioned that I was going to start streaming on one of the Twitch streams I was on. I don't remember whose it was. It might have been Lee Marie. And I said that I was going to be doing a box turtle build. And the first thing I got asked was, how many kits are you giving away? And I'm like, none. Why? Like, oh, but everybody else is giving away kits. Why would I watch if there wasn't a kit? And I'm like, to hang out. Which I do appreciate you fellas for. And ladies, if there's any ladies in the room. So we have the switch. Now what else do we need? Next section. Need the roller bearing, and I need... So I've got the hub. I've got the micro switch. I need the MR63ZZ, and I need an M3x10. M5s, M3x8, M3x10. Go back to me. One of the things I need to do is work on my layout, because things are actually, yeah, it might have been Keela's JPP. Is my screen layout for my OBS, etc. OBS for some reason wants to be huge, and I can't really shrink it down any more than I currently have. So my screen real estate is kind of tied up. What I've got in front of me is a big 32-inch monitor so that I can see everything, because I'm half blind because I'm old like Bill. And as a result, yeah, everything's just a bit all over the place. Here we go. MR63ZZ. Yeah, I'm in the same boat with you, but way too many plastic bags. But what's the alternative? I mean, you need to be able to see what's in them half the time to identify what you're looking for. And but by the same token, you want to be environmentally friendly and not have a million plastic bags. Here in Western Australia, single-use plastic bags are banned. So if you go to the store or anything like that, you simply cannot get single-use plastic bags. It's not allowed. It's all paper. Or there's a sponge sugar alternative that they use. It's almost a clear plastic, but yeah. Am I missing something? I've got the screw, I've got the bearing, I've got the switch. Is there supposed to be a ball bearing in there too? Doesn't say so. So where's my tweezers? Or paperware URPF, yeah. Bearing in. Switch in. The switch is kind of a snug fit. Let's see if it's the switch itself or the bearing not sitting all the way in. Now there's a little tiny burr in the hole. Sorry, I'm just grabbing a small set of needle files. And I'm back again. I would be grabbing the needle files. There they are. I'm pretty sure I know what happened. My wife has a tendency to come and borrow my tools. Not for anything malicious or to damage them or anything, but things like if the dog has a cracked toenail, she'll grab my nail files, well, my needle files, and she will, sorry, bring this on camera, and she'll use the files to fix the dog's nail, which I don't mind, but she just needs to put them back where she got them. Sorry, that probably went in your ears, I'm sorry. That's much better, slot straight in. It was just a little tiny blob of plastic inside the hole. One, two. And the screw. Now everybody's warned me that I have to be super careful with this and not over tighten, so let's just give this a very gentle. And that's just bottomed out. Bill, the problem is if I bought my wife a toolbox, I know exactly what would happen, and that would be that all of my tools would end up in her toolbox, and or my tools will end up in her toolbox, and I'll just be digging through her toolbox instead of mine to find everything. I've just realized that one of these ECAS isn't sitting quite as nicely as I would like. So I'm going to mute you guys for 1 second so I don't deafen you while I belt it again with that big hammer. Hello, I'm back, aren't I? I've been talking to myself for the last 2 minutes. I pulled a Nero! Okay. So what I was saying is, I can hear the switch going every time I push the filament through. And I started to badmouth a filament maker and then realized, yeah, I probably shouldn't have said that on stream, but it looks like I saved myself anyway. Yeah, I was just saying that in Australia we have a very different filament market because most of the big brands that you guys are used to overseas, we either can't get or the price is just astronomical. I know that Keela's been really keen to get Polar and Ambrosia into countries outside of the US. And to be honest, we've been working with our own stuff for so long, it's going to be tough for them to get any market penetration into Australia at all. So I'm happy. All the ECASs are working. They all press. I can hear the switch clicking every time I press it. For some reason, I still have an LED on my desk. And basically, the only issue I had was that tiny little bit of swarf inside the switch hole. So our hub is ready. We can now bring our backplate back into the view and go back to the manual. So next, 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 next. Put that in and single side pokes out and there. Sorry guys, I'm going to try not to drop stuff. There. So what we're going to need is some hardware. We're going to need an M3 by 10. M3 by 8s. I had the M3 by 10s a minute ago. I don't mind leaving the heat sets out and the M5s, but I'm really trying hard not to get the other stuff out of the bags if I can avoid it, because I have small children and small animals, and I know at some stage one of them is going to come running around in here and demolish things. And tight. So the hub's in place. Now I know that the original instructions call to print the hub in the same color, but it didn't seem to work with the way I picked my colors, so I went with this. I think it works better. I have got some green ECAS hats coming. I'm not sure I'm going to use them. I might see if I've got any of the gray ones floating around, because I think the gray will actually work better than the blue or the green that I originally ordered. I mean, it was about $1 US, including shipping, for 25 of the hats in different colors. So it seemed like it would work, and it was definitely worth the gamble. So that part is done. Let's go back to the manual for a second. Bring you guys with me. And let's go to that. So I'm just skipping forward because I'd rather be chatting to you guys and working than constantly coming back to the manual that we've all seen. It's just making sure I'm completely refreshed on it. So from here, it looks like we add the sides, build the front, and then assemble the whole lot. So let's go back. So it's saying to build the front, then add the sides to the back, and then add the front on. That makes sense. So back to me. There we go. Oh, maybe I should do that while we're here. Ew, something sticky. Do you want to see the rest of my workshop a little bit? That's my V2. That's my ERCF V2, which was working and then it randomly shed a stepper driver for no apparent reason. So it's just sitting there for now, and I'm going to take it off there, and it's probably going to end up on my Ender 5. Down this end, this is my ClearPet G-Tune machine. Oh, camera lost me. Follow me, follow me. There we go. There we go. So that's my Ender 5, so Ender 3. That's tuned for just simply printing ClearPet G and any other PET G that parts that I want, so I don't poison the nozzle with it, poison the nozzle of the printers with anything. The pink V0 I was given by a very nice guy who was getting out of the hobby, and he printed it in that colors for his daughter, and she was never really into it. The moment my then 2-year-old saw it, she's like, "My printer!" So ever since that time, it's been used to print nothing but toys for her friends. And then in the corner, there's another V0, which is all tuned up for printing PLA parts. That's what I printed the corners for on the Box Turtle. And it's a little rocket ship. I'm about to swap it out from a Revo High Flow to a Dragon Ultra High Flow, purely and simply because why not? It's currently running at about 2/3 of the speed it could, just simply limited by the hot end. So let's get back to this. We're going to need some corners. 1, 2. Now, is the tracking making you guys a bit seasick, or is it not too bad? That's the wrong size. This is why I have 4 sets of Allen keys, because I put them down and then can't find them, and then have to do a big tidy up to find them, or when I run out. Yeah, Ender 3 NG's never really, as Marie Kondo would say, would it spark joy? No. I quite like the fact it's a nice, easy access printer. If I wanted an enclosed PLA machine, I've got my Ender 5 for that, although I've recently fitted acrylic panels to it so that I can warm it up a bit more and keep the drafts off it. The type of air conditioning we have is basically a total loss system. It uses evaporative pads where it blows huge quantities of water through giant cardboard pads effectively, and the air just blows in from the fan unit and out through all of the windows, and that keeps the whole house cool. It works really, really effectively, but there is a downside, and that is it makes the whole house a bit humid sometimes. Again, not really that helpful for all my filament. That's why if you have a look on the rep rack up behind me, every single filament roll is in a bag, and I have a couple of vacuum pumps to make sure that I suck all the air out. I also run a Sunlu. Oh, hey, Brent. Hey, Brent, are you a bogan? Sorry, that's a slang term used in Australia to describe a certain class of people. Sorry, off screen. I'm just slotting this in. Yeah, Brent, at the moment, I'm not really pushing this on the local Discord because I know too many of the guys. And while I'm very, very friendly with them, I know full well that they're going to heckle and make my life difficult while I get used to this. So just for now, I'm keeping it pretty low key on the Bogan Discord. For everybody else in the rest of the world, a Bogan is kind of sort of an American redneck. Sorry. But it's used in an affectionate kind of way. Hey, I fully would heckle most people on this stream. And again, spacing is not quite 100%. I mean, there's a difference between gentle, light-hearted teasing and the sort of heckling these guys would probably want to throw my way. The atmosphere on this Discord is pretty boisterous. And while everybody's nice to each other, it's not what I need right now while I'm learning to do all this stuff. Yeah, I was saying that, saying as much, Brent. We have access to a lot of the same filaments from a lot of the same manufacturers at 2/3 the price, and in cases of some of the sediments, it's less than half the price. Having said that, I never turn down a spool of filament when I win it from somebody's stream. I did recently win a spool of ambrosia on one of Keela's streams. For those who don't join in on the bulk of YouTube streams, Lee Marie 3D is Jeremy and Keela, two awesome people who've been very, very helpful and supportive in getting me going with all of this. They give away not just Polymaker on their streams, but also Ambrosia, which is West 3D's in-house filament. And the only drawback is it's not available outside of the US. So my brother, he lives on a corn farm in the middle of Iowa, so I had it sent to him. And just for giggles, to make sure that he knows I love him, I made sure it was sparkly and pink and all the rest of that sort of stuff. I left it to Keela's discretion to make it the most girly filament she could find on the shelf. Sorry, I know I'm a little bit off camera here, but it's just awkward to do this in frame. The Lee Marie streams, Bill, are a different dynamic because it's a husband and wife team. Jeremy's not as chatty, but Keela being on the stream kind of makes up for the lack of chat sometimes. She's very gregarious and chatty, and he's very much a I want to get this stuff done kind of guy, and the dynamic really is good. I think the last time I dealt with extrusions this nice was when I built my Magic Phoenix V2. The Grey V0 I showed you a few minutes ago, the one I use for all my ABS work, it's a Cyborg kit, and it's okay, but that's all you can say for it. It's just okay. The printed parts that come from Cyborg are all right, but they've done something strange with their selection of the filament because it's very, very hard and very, very brittle. it's almost like it's a polycarbonate. I had mid-print about 2 weeks ago. The gantry exploded. The parts just simply shattered. It was really weird. I've got a part on my bench here somewhere. I'll show you guys in a second. I'm definitely going back to Stealth Changer, but the problem is it's going to be really good content, and in order for me to be able to afford to do it, I need to rely on some of the hardware that I'm being sent by a couple of companies for beta testing. And of course, if it's in beta, I can't show you guys, which means it's not content. Now, before I put that together, this is the gantry component. It just shattered. It was mid-print. Oh, let's start away. I need another lolly. Here's the problem, Bill. I can't turn on memberships until I've got 1,000 subscribers. And believe me, I would love to. But as I was going through all of this stuff and trying to work out what I can and can't get away with, yeah, at this point, YouTube needs 1,000 subs to make me revenue allowed, as they call it. Brent, have you seen anything to do with the Phoenix, the knockoff Phoenix unit that Physek are doing? I've heard from somebody who's currently got a beta unit, and it's not exactly the safest, we'll describe it, currently, electrically. So I think they're going to have to go back and do some rework before they can launch it based on what I was told. And while I have seen pictures and I completely understand the theory behind it, it's only one person and one source, so I can't say for sure that they're definitely right, but I wouldn't ordinarily trust this person's opinion and descriptions. I'm guessing that quite a few of you guys in chat have been approached for betas at some stage during your hobby, so I will keep talking about it a little bit. One of the hardest parts for me was my V2 is absolutely loaded with beta hardware for 3 or 4 different things that are going on at the moment. And it was a mix of stripping it all out and hiding it and printing a big fat cover that goes on the back to hide a whole bunch of stuff that has only been merely glimpsed by the public, and they didn't realize what they were looking at because it appeared at a trade show and shouldn't have. And I can confirm I do not yet have a Vivid. I do not have a VVD. They are not ready for beta. I can definitely tell you that I don't have one of those. Can you please, guys, bear with me for 1 second? A friend passed away a couple of weeks ago and his sister's just messaged me, so I just want to make sure what's going on. I'll be back in a moment. Sorry about that, I'm back. Yeah, a friend who's younger than me, who's only just about to turn 40, he just suddenly died of a heart attack a couple of weeks ago. So when his sister messaged me, of course, I wanted to get back to her straight away and help her out. So yeah. Oh, you like my logo, do you? Now, you should know something about Microsoft AI. I'm going to bring this up just for giggles. Now, how can I do this easily? There we go. I used an AI image generator before Microsoft launched Copilot. They had this beta thing that was behind closed doors for advanced testers. And every time you put Australian into the mix, it would always put alcohol in. Every single time it would put alcohol in. So I'm just, while you guys are looking at that one, I'm gonna see if I can find the other ones. Don't drop the heat sets, Phil. There we go. Can't do it that way. Maybe I'll have to do it this way. So sources, add a source, an image. Let's just call it that. Okay, and now browse. Or there's this one. Again, more alcohol. Or add an image. That was the last one. Browse. That one. Okay. Now let me see if I can arrange these. Yeah, so for some reason, every single time you generate anything even remotely Australian, it will insist on putting corks and wine bottles and beer bottles and all sorts of other things. Where's the koala one? Let's add the koala one too for giggles. Add an image, okay. So yeah, garbage in, garbage out when it comes to AI. Everybody trained it that all Australians are alcoholics. And while I don't mind a beer and I don't mind lots of very good Australian wine, yeah, I'm not quite that bad. So let's go back to what we're doing. But having said that, I do like the intro graphic. That came out really nice, as much as it's got the alcohol in the background. And my wife wants me, when I do eventually set up a Stream Element store, to have that as my t-shirt logo. What do you guys reckon? So let's get rid of that and go back to hands plus me. Now, while I've been chatting and playing with things and showing you all those pictures, this is all finished. Let me see if I can zoom out a little. There we go. So yeah, fully assembled, all ready to go. And I did manage to make sure I got all the corners the right way up the first time. Win. So what would you guys like to see now? Should we move on to doing the heat sets in the trays, or should we do something else? I've got about another 35 minutes I can be here. Then I have to go do the grocery shopping before the kids return. A couple of missing pieces in the middle. You're right, I haven't put the trays in. So I'll get rid of the frame for a minute. One thing I did find that was handy, these trays, really good for keeping some of the parts together in. Now, for those who haven't seen this before, the trays come with two built-in supports. These actually came off really easily compared to some of the other stuff. It does look like I didn't have my input shaping quite as well tuned as I hoped, but that's what happens when you're swapping tool heads every couple of weeks for different beaters. Sometimes you just get lazy and don't retune. So 1, 2, 3. This is the one I tested snapping them off on. 4. And let's do some heat sets. So let's get the soldering iron back. And my little doohickey so I don't burn the desk. And the heat sets are here just at the edge of the screen. Now, big screwdriver. That's a bit too big. You out the way, you out of the way. And that's not coming off as easy as the other ones. Ah. That might need cleaning up with a razor in a minute. Hopefully these cracks aren't too loud. Now, question for you. Some people gave me a hard time when I was showing pictures of some of this stuff online. Rabbit ears as a brim, cheating or not cheating? Now that needs pushing out of the middle. Now, some of these parts have mouse ears just print, no press print. Sorry. Well, that's my philosophy too, PF. If I'm getting completed parts and I have a tiny bit of post-processing afterwards, then I'm happy with that. I'd rather that than spend 40 minutes into a print going, ah, crap, and have to start again. I mean, this was on that Bogan Discord that I was talking about, where they, a lot of the time, they are just joking around, but so these trays did not come out as nice as I was hoping for. They came out a little bit nicer than some of the ones I've seen where they warped quite horribly. Now, I'm on the Super Slicer 2.7 alpha test. And as a result, some of the parts are printed in strange settings to try and test out new features or test to see if a bug would crop up. So sometimes my parts reflect that. So let's do 2 at a time. And I'm just going to jump myself to the okay, the manual's on a go slow. There we go. So where I am right now is I'm just looking at the manual to check exactly which heat inserts go where, and it looks like I'm going to need, go back to me, I'm going to need this one, and I'm going to need the left side or the right side? I'm going to need the middle, that one, and that one. Okay, I can do that. So, yeah. Now, I'm currently looking at the manual while I do this one, and I know you guys are looking at me. So this could get really disorientating and confusing for me. Let's just double check. Middle one, yes. Stendiati one and the other Stendiati one. I did it again. I've been chatting away trying to wait for this to heat up, and I forgot to turn it on. I probably should have hit this with a heat gun, get rid of some of the stringing. This is what happens if you leave the filament out for more than 48 hours here. It just sucks up so much atmospheric moisture, it's crazy. The ocean is about maybe 10 minutes drive from here, about 3 or 4 kilometers. And when the sea breeze comes in the afternoons, we can go from a 45 Celsius day, which is what, 115, 118 Fahrenheit, and it'll drop down to about 100 Fahrenheit in a period of 15 minutes. And believe it or not, it feels cold. It actually starts to feel cold because you've got used to that temperature and you've dressed accordingly. And then all of a sudden, the temperature's dropped off again. That one's in. That's what I got before. In case you're wondering what that is, it's a drawer handle left over from when I did all the cabinetry in the room. Some of them came from AliExpress and they were dinged and dented. So they sent replacements, but I kept a couple of the less dinged and dented ones to use as spares. And they also work really well for heat set squaring up. Now that I know what I'm doing, I can go back and see what you guys are doing. Oh, bye, Kegel. Sorry, I didn't see you going. That one went in flush anyway. I think my iron might be a little bit too hot. These are heating up a little fast. It says it's set to 240, so it shouldn't be too bad. So that's 2. So feedback in chat. Should I keep doing what I'm doing? Or am I crap at this and I should quit now while I'm ahead? Then I can return all this stuff to Amazon. Bye, JPP. I should be streaming at approximately the same time every week for at least for the next few weeks, so please drop by when you can. And nobody feel obligated to be here. It's nice to have you guys to hang out with and chat to while I'm doing the build, but I know people have lives. That's not very square at all. Yeah, that's better. Got about 20 minutes left that I can stream for. Definitely think I'm going to need to adjust this soldering iron a little bit cooler. They've all gone in nice and neatly at least, so that's a win. Right, back to the manual. Next, 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 next. Bring you guys with me so you can see what I'm doing. Ah, I have to take the frame apart again. I'm an idiot. And I know that I haven't fitted the fan at this point. The reason I haven't fitted the fan at this point is because I noticed as I was putting this together that there is a very tiny spot that's going to make the fan not sit square. And I know that if it doesn't sit square and right in the hole, it's not going to fit. So I was going to fit that after the stream. So yeah, I need to take the frame apart. Let's get rid of the soldering iron before I burn myself again. Can you guys hear that rushing noise? That's the rain outside. Frame. So let's have a look at this, make sure we've got this all going. Me and you guys, there we go. All right, so matching this to the manual, I need the fan to be over there and the, yep, there. That. And Allen key. I know I'm a little bit off the screen here, guys, but space means I just can't quite show you. Oh. Actually, let's try this. Come follow me. Follow my hand. Follow my hand. Follow my hand. There we go. You can at least see vaguely what I'm doing. Follow my hand again. There we go. And down again. I might have to do this instead. No, too far. There we go. Now I've had this kit for approximately 3 weeks already, and it has been eating me up inside not being able to build it. I'm one of those people who, once they have a new toy, they desperately have to build it and play with it. So it has hurt me a little inside to just have it sitting here taunting me for so long. It got to the point where I had my wife give the okay to leave it on the dining table. So it wasn't in here taunting me while I was working on things. That's tracked away from me again. Oh, too far. No, it doesn't like this. Let's just go back to upper body. And you have to just, there we go. I can fit you just. So I think the main problem at the moment is that my overhead camera is a little too close. So what I'm going to need to do is make the tripod that is on, which is currently sitting on my other desk. I've got 2 desks sitting back to back. I'm going to have to make that tripod taller, and that will then let me have the camera a little further away and have more zooming option, because it's currently pretty much as wide as the lens will go. And that should give me a little bit more real estate to deal with. Now the overhead camera is my old Canon 750D, because I didn't want to have to spend more money than I had to get this going. But the auto tracking face camera, that's an Obspot Mini 2 Lite. I saw Zombie Hedgehog using one on his stream and realized it was almost exactly what I wanted, even though I didn't know I wanted. Because I've been planning to start streaming for a while. It was a case of not having the time or the patience at that stage because of a few health issues. But once things started to come together a couple of months ago, and then Box Turtle launched, I was like, Box Turtle, get the camera. I also splashed out on a DJI mini mic setup just to get me going. Once I've spent the money, I kind of have to give it the best I've got, because I don't have that much money to throw around. So this was me going, okay, I'm turning 47. I need to get my shit together and do something other than hanging out in my cave workshop when I'm not working. I need to have something to do. And hopefully once things progress, it'll make a little money from the streams. I'm not looking to replace a job or anything. What I am looking for, hopefully, is to make enough to just cover costs and pay fulfillment and be able to buy in a project every so often to do it justice. So where we're at, we've got the trays in place. We've got the neck in place. All the heat sets are done in the bottom of the trays. I'll do the fan off stream because that's the 30-second job. Once I've cleared out that debris, I think next we'll do those rollers, which should very nicely take up the last 10 minutes or so, or at least explain what I've done with these rollers, because they weren't easy. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, before I put these together, the parts looked very, very nice. It wasn't until I threaded the inserts in that I started getting the white ABS stress marks. So what I then did was I kind of doubled down on the problems I was having, and I hit the roller parts with a heat gun, which did help improve the stress marks. but it also meant that any imperfections in the layers all of a sudden started to jump out at me. So at this point, I'm kind of torn. Nobody's ever going to see this except you guys and me right here, right now. Do I go ahead and just keep using these parts, or do I get my act together and do it properly and do what Steve Builds would do, and that is reprint them from scratch? What do you guys reckon? Do I reprint and come back to this, or do I go with it? Reprint from Brent. Anybody else? Has anybody else had these issues with their version? You see, Brent, I might not hate it. And it is something I could replace later easily enough if I did hate it. I mean, they're structurally sound. It's just that where the seams were from the super slicer testing, you can see it. And yeah, like, I'm not sure if you can see it in the camera or not, because for some reason the EOS streaming software is really low res, even though it's a 20 megapixel camera. There's a seam here, but then the next part of the seam is here, and then here. It's just weird. So I've got Bill voting for just go with it, and I've got PF and Brent saying reprint. I think you guys have got me. I'm going to have to reprint. Unfortunately, Brent, no, there's just not enough wall thickness. The walls are about 1.3 mil thick according to the CAD that I've been able to find. And the other thing that's a bit odd about these parts, everything else they force you to use supports, and then they expect you to be able to print on that piece or on the back. And neither of them are particularly good surfaces. This one needs a big, huge support if you print it this side down. And that one needs a giant support in the middle, which you then have to dig out if you print it this way down. Did you print them out of a profile with the wrong material, Bill? The plastic connectors, you know what? If I was doing them again, I might rescale the plastic connectors like to 99.5% or something in the X and Y. And well, 99.5% in the Z and either X or Y, depending on which way I do it. It was just that little bit too tight. And one of the reasons I suspect it was just a little bit tight is they're two different brands of filament, and the tolerances because of between the two brands were just, the expansion and contraction rates are just fractionally different. Yeah, I'm one of those people who some things will bother me and some things won't. They're not currently bothering me, but they might later. But having said that, they're easy enough to replace. You know what? I think I am going to reprint. But one thing I'm going to do while we're here, these get bearings on the ends, don't they? Let's see which one I should rescale. Is it that the blue has shrunk too much, or is the green didn't shrink enough? Oh, it's definitely the green. This just friction fits on. I know you're cringing right now, Bill. But I needed something with 2 tines to get under the edge of the bearing without damaging it. Yeah, I'm going to reprint. You're a good but bad influence on me, you guys. So, next decision is, what color do I print it in? Do I print them in the green because I do have enough green left over? Do I print them in this blue because nobody's ever going to see it and I've got rolls and rolls and rolls of it? Because Brent, Sid was selling them off for $12 a roll if you bought 10 or something. $12 a kilo, guys. In Australian, that would be around about $8 a kilo American. And there's nothing wrong with it. He just bought enough to fill a customer job and then sold the rest off cheap to the locals. So yeah, what I think we're going to do is we're going to call it here because I've got about 5 minutes left anyway, and I'm going to need to do the reprinting. And you guys now know exactly what we're going to start with next week. We're going to start with putting these rollers together, and then we are going to move on with the rest of the build. So I would like to thank all of you for coming. I'd like to remind YouTube that I paid for all of this crap with my own money, so there's no money changing hands for any of this stuff. And oh, Bill's telling us a story. The story behind the misprinted parts is that I have a profile I use to play with parameters to understand how they impact the print. Ah, that makes sense. So yeah, you know, guys now know what I'm going to start with next week. And all being well, it should be same bat time, same bat channel every week, at least for the next 3 or 4. And once we finish Box Turtle, we will then move on from there, and we shall see what other projects I've got going. Hopefully by then, some of the beta stuff I've been testing will be public knowledge, and I can be one of those people who can give you the in-depth, I've been using this stuff for a long time stuff, kind of reviews, as opposed to the launch stuff where people are just guessing whether it's going to be any good because they've only had it a day and they're desperately trying to get their content out. So, with that said, I will bid you all good day, or g'day as the locals say, and I shall catch you all next week. Thanks, guys.